Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Now, the government has launched the Citizen Security and Justice Program to reduce crime and violence in New Providence in particular. It is a multi-agency, multi-pronged initiative, and to aid with one component, strengthening the justice system, it has engaged the consultant firm Development Polls. Here to talk with us about this, we're very happy to welcome the Honorable Justice Bernard Turner, Justice of the Supreme Court, and Component 3 Coordinator Marcel Rora, Executive Director of Development Polls, and Henry Montegard Lobia, Team Leader for Development Polls. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
A pleasure to have you all with us, and certainly to be talking about something that is so important. All right, the justice system is a pillar in any governing society, and certainly we're excited to see I guess some modernization as a result of this work that you're going to be doing. The consultancy will help to address institutional shortcomings of the criminal justice administration system as it stands now. But Justice Turner, in your opinion, what specifically needs attention?
Well, several things. But of course, the complaint is always about the backlog in criminal justice matters and completing criminal cases in the Supreme Court. We are, of course, also concerned about any development to be holistic and across the board, so that as we improve on the administration of justice on the criminal side of the Supreme Court, we also complementarily do that on the civil side of the Supreme Court as well. And so we're looking at, and the consultancy is about looking at the way in which we do our business, making suggestions as for changes so that we may more efficiently and effectively do the work which we are entrusted and sworn to do.
Certainly, and I think Bahamians listening to this conversation be very relieved by that, because you're right, this has been something that we've talked about before, and it's so good to see it actually taking progressive steps. Marcel, you've provide tailor-made technical assistance and advisory solutions. Can you speak to the services that you were thinking, just broadly, because I know you're in the consulting phase now, but services that you will hope to implement in the Bahamas?
Yes, we are a strategic consulting firm based in Panama, and we're here under a mandate of the judiciary in order to support them to address precisely the institutional shortcomings, not only of the criminal system, but also of probate and family and other sectors within the judiciary. The services that we'll be providing is basically to design and implement a roadmap that will be addressing these shortcomings together with a team from the judiciary. And we're here to follow through with this and see this roadmap come to fruition.
Okay, excellent. Now, Henry, compared to the current system, what challenges do you foresee in implementing a modern, all right, and I'm emphasizing that word modern, a modern integrated case management system here in the Bahamas?
Yes, modern and integrated. So the effort and the focus is broad. The overall objective is, of course, to provide better systems and services to the public, the ultimate user of the courts. Through the case management program, we bring together all of the institutions of the justice sector to operate on a standard and similar way of doing business. Through automation, we almost eliminate human error because there are systems that are built in that discover anomalies. So the program will cover, as the gentleman said, various areas and integrate all of the justice sector institutions.
Excellent, excellent. And so we're thinking then strategy, but also a software-based system that is easily accessible and allows people to work in a manner that is efficient and effective.
That's correct, and it's a software system that has an architecture that will be compatible, and then you can add modules. You can even handle the collection of fines and fees or payments of child support, even parking tickets, because the architecture withstands additional modules. So you can develop it step by step while it's integrated at the same time.
Excellent, excellent. And I know that's a relief for so many people as you say that, and so very excited about this personally, Justice Turner. But what outcomes are you hoping to see in the grand scheme of it, the long-term vision? What are you hoping this will result in for you?
Well, certainly an effective case management system so that we're able to effectively schedule cases, that we're able to see across the board the calendars of the respective judges in the Supreme Court and the Magistrates Court calendar as well. We're looking for an electronic filing system so that in terms of civil cases as well, not just on the criminal side, as I've said, we're able to electronically file court documents. Everything presently is paper-based. We're trying to move away as far as possible from a paper-heavy system to approaching a paperless system. And that with the integrated case management would allow us to do our work more effectively. And across the, as I said, from the magistrates' courts up into the Supreme Court, onto our appellate court system.
Okay, and that's excellent. Just so many things about that are so critical. We talk about sustainability. We just talk about, you know, the idea of recycling and not wanting to waste paper, but even more important, the efficiency of it all and just having everything in a system that people can just go to and refer to, whether it's a case from 1960 that unfortunately is just coming up now, or one from 2011. You know, you just want to be able to find everything in one place. But I imagine that automation, moving from paper to a machine, might require some training. So will there be training of staff available? How will this actually work?
Absolutely. There is a whole component of institutional capacity building and of staff development. There will be a number of different types of training, certainly focused on the actual use of the integrated case management system, but also for management of the courts, for the handling of information. Certain information is public at all times. Certain information varies from the process. Information about investigations is not public, for example. Also, the system will gather quite extensive statistical information. So there will be training for the managers, again, for the decision makers, in how to use this tool. Statistics is one of the primary management tools. When you analyze the numbers, we had one person who says, when you count, it counts.
Yeah.
So it counts. And if you know how to count properly and how to administer that information and turn it into action, you get better, stronger management.
Excellent, and I love that, because you can't make proper policy decisions, right, Marcel, if you're not focused on what am I looking at, what are these numbers saying, and how then do I change those numbers or keep them going in the direction that I want them to.
Exactly.
Excellent. That I'm so happy to hear that. Now let's talk about time frame, right? Certainly we know that things have moved slowly in the courts in the past. Do we expect this consultation and implementation to move as slowly?
But no, we have a very defined time frame.
Okay.
And this is Development Pool's second week in the Bahamas,
Okay.
At the initial phase of the assessment. We have, from last week, 22 weeks within which we expect to have an actionable roadmap as to the mapping of our as-is process and a roadmap to the future as to how we can change these things. And so within this 22-week time period, there's quite a bit of work which has to be done by these good gentlemen and their firm, but also by us, because they're the persons, we are the persons that they're interviewing and speaking to, and the other persons who are stakeholders of the justice system. And at the end of that process is the beginning of another process of the implementation of the defined solutions, so that we can move from this anecdotal to an empirical basis for making decisions.
Excellent. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing. So happy to hear this. And I want to emphasize that this is a 22-week period just in research and making sure that it's done right, Marcel? And that at the end of this 22-week period, then we get into the action steps. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.